Hey, fitness pro, look, there's a lot of reasons why you could be suffering from burnout, and they include all of the following. Number one, you may be working your tail off and not getting anywhere. Post pandemic, if you are a gym or a studio and you've been opened and you've been closed and you've been restricted, and your customers are not feeling confident or safe about whether they should or they shouldn't. They know they need and want the exercise, but they're potentially not ready to come in. So if that's you, that's one reason. And then you could be on the other side. You've worked so hard this year because you harvest when things are ripe, when it's already right there for you. It just happens to be landing in your lap. Maybe you, like me, were already online. You were there and waiting when the pandemic happened, and it happened to work well for you and for the customers that you serve. But it's been a long year. It's been a long 20 months since the pandemic, and maybe 14, 15 months since people gained some confidence about spending money again. And you're just working your tail off, but seeing it come to fruition. And yet maybe you're sliding a little bit yourself because it's been just too much to sustain for such a long period of time. And then here's the other thing. What if you're just starting out and there are so many things that you have to learn? There's the social media, there's the email, there's the conducting and producing live video, whether we're talking live video, just you going to the camera to teach concepts about what it is you do and introduce your audience to you, or it's about the teaching of the fitness classes and delivering them, figuring out the tech. So it's the best possible sound and lighting and experience. There's a lot there to learn. And sometimes you forget what you're doing. So, this episode is all about helping you get out of it. I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to Fitness Marketing Mastery, where I share marketing and sales strategies that are easy, enjoyable, even fun, so you can create the business and the life that you love, complete with the freedom financially and time wise, so you can spend some more time doing some things you love with the people you love. All right, this episode is brought to you by my Marketing to Women copywriting course. And right now, during November, and as we rush to the end of a year, but no matter when you're listening, this will be true. You want to market to people and you want to give them something that can help them and improve the value and quality of their life. You still have to have the right words to attract them and know how to find them, understanding your buyer and the reasons that they're motivated to make purchases. And you'll get it all inside the course. And I can't help myself, but I will be mentioning it during this episode. So here they are, 3 ways to avoid burnout. Number one is stop scrambling to compete with somebody else. That looking over your shoulder at what is somebody else doing, and oh my gosh, they're doing it better, and their website is prettier, and this is what they're posting on their social media. So then you go and post the same or similar on your social media. That is one fast track to burnout. Here's the best way to beat that comparison mode that makes you exhausted. First of all, know your customer better than anyone else. I'm going to come back to that. And second of all, rise above the noise. So let me start with the first, because this is very tangible. Know your customer better than everyone else does. Like, answer these questions. What are the problems that your customer has and wants solved right now? What do they know now? And what do you want them to know? What are they feeling right now? And what do you want them to feel? For example, somebody is feeling frustrated. So, my midlife clients, and if you serve them too, you know this, They're frustrated because they feel like they've lost control. Their bodies betrayed them. Like what they used to do doesn't work anymore. They've gained weight, they've gained belly fat. What what they used to eat is having a poor effect. They feel bloated. So those are some of the ways they feel frustrated, they feel betrayed. What do I want them to feel? I want them to feel like there's a logical reason for that happening and that they have to uncover the new ways that they can actually get back to having what they want, feeling the way they want with energy, no bloat, back to a weight that feels far more comfortable and they feel comfortable in their own skin. And all of those things, partially I learned that I have to use different words to attract different customers. That's a part of copywriting. So here's another one. You've got to know, are you focused on not just somebody, say, in midlife like I am, but are you focused on a budget minded shopper? Or are you focused on somebody who will spend whatever it takes if they find the right solution that they feel there's value in? That also will change your copywriting. The words that you use have to reflect someone's values in order to have them spend. Does your last question, does your appearance, and I mean, yeah, your physical appearance, if you're a spokesperson and you appear in your social media or your brands, does your appearance, your brand, meaning your colors, the images you portray, and your stance or attitude attract or repel your ideal customer? Of course, you're trying to attract, but if you haven't stopped to think about these things, like unpack that client who is budget minded, then what will she value when she sees your appearance and your brand? Like if you show something that's maybe dark and with gold and with your very expensive car and you're showing your belongings and your extravagant vacations, that probably is not going to appeal to her. She's going to think right away, that's not for me. So you want to be consistent. So I'm going to ask those things of you again. Know your customer better than anyone else. Ask yourself, what are the problems they have want solved right now? What do they know right now? And what do you need them to know? What do they feel right now? And what do you want them to feel? And are you focused, for instance, on somebody who's a budget minded shopper or somebody who will spend whatever it takes when they find the actual solution they trust? And last, does your appearance, your brand, and your stance or attitude attract her or repel her? And the second thing I mentioned to beat comparison mode is this: rise above the noise. So you will be attacked potentially. You may be the competition that other people's eyes are watching. If you've done something first, or you've done something best, or you've done it best and first, people will copy you. So instead of worrying about it, instead of competing, you simply rise above where they can't get to you. Focus instead on your customer. You'll never go wrong there. You don't want to be focused on what's everybody else doing, what's working for them. Maybe you look at that for a second, a minimum second. And then you focus back on your customers to decide if it will work for you. No one can compete with you being better and being ahead of them. Okay. Number two, to avoid burnout, remember why you're doing what you're doing. What were the parts of it that you love? And you've got to do more of them. Now, when you're just starting out, I know you've got to wear all the hats. Maybe you have to be the marketer, you have to be the tech person, you have to be the lighting and camera crew, and you have to be the performer, and you have to edit and do all the things. And I get it. I've done it, did it too. But if what you love is teaching the fitness, that's why you got into it in the first place, right? So you love it as much as I love doing that, but I also love researching science and breaking it down into applicable actions that my audience can understand why something didn't work for them. And then Figure out a way to do more of it. Whatever that thing is that you love, figure out a way to do that. So I used to take Saturday mornings and I would open up my National Strength and Conditioning Association journals and I would pore over what were some of the new studies. Then I'd go to obesity journal and I'd go to the menopause journal, and somewhere along the lines that disappeared. I've lost the time. It's been absorbed into doing some other things, but I've got to get back to it because I realize I'm doing more and more of the things that I like less and less. Not a good fit. So that's the time when you've got to say, it's time for me to delegate. And maybe the next way to avoid burnout will appeal to you as well. But you've got to do the basics of choosing your right audience, knowing how to reach them, understanding how to create a funnel. I mean, those things are the ABCs of building a business, whether you're a solo entrepreneur, personal trainer, Pilates instructor, yoga instructor, you do some unique blend that you've come up with. We all have to do the basics. The right audience, knowing them better than anybody else, mentioned before, knowing how to reach them. Where are they? Not where do you want to hang out? Do you want to be on Instagram? I don't really care. If I were your coach or mentor, I would say it doesn't matter where you want to be. Where are your customers engaging most with you? And you've got to understand how to create a funnel. That's the reaching them on social media, bringing them over to your email list because there's something so juicy that you're offering them, nurturing them with a couple emails before you offer to give them a next step that's maybe a package or a program that you offer, and nurturing them from that while they are a customer. And then after, what's next? That's a funnel. That's a journey a customer goes through. We've all got to have one. But once you know it, then you can and you should do the things that light you up, and less of those things on that list that make your lights go out. So look in the mirror. How you doing? Are your eyes shiny, excited? Go with whatever you're doing to make that happen. Number three, third way to avoid burnout is keep it simple instead of buying all the things or doing all the things that you very likely don't need anyway. So easy to get overwhelmed if you do a search online right now, for instance, about how do I create online fitness classes and videotape them or have good audio, you'll find probably 25 videos will come up, 25 articles, beginning of the pandemic, early, May, June, July, of 2020. There's tons of them, but they will probably all suggest you need a mixer, you need this mic, you need this speaker, you're going to plug your phone in, you're going to do it with your laptop or your iPad. And it can be overwhelming. And then you'll be like, wait, but I don't know. And then how will I edit the video together with the music? And you get overwhelmed and stifled, and that's where burnout happens, is you're actually stuck and you can't or don't make a decision. So you don't need a YouTube channel and a podcast and a blog all at once. Two things inform how you create valuable content. By the way, content that you share via your email. And if you're still focused on social media first, you've got it backwards. Content starts on your website. Maybe it's a video you embed there. Maybe it's a blog, maybe it's a podcast, but then you share that content, little pieces of it, little soldiers that go out to your social media posts that drive people back to your website. And if you're not doing that, remember you always, always, always want to bring people back to your website. Isn't that where you describe your programs? The next step, that's where you develop traffic. It's where you learn what people like and how they want to stay on your site and connect with you and where they exit. Those little things are so very important to learn about your site. Okay, there you have it. I want to just recap this last one. You have to keep it simple instead of buying all the things that you probably don't need. What would be the super simplest way you could create a fitness video? Put your phone in, get in a room where you've got lots of padding. So you've got carpet, you've got couches, upholstery. So you've got things softening the sound so you can be heard really well. Maybe you don't use any music at all. That's probably the basics, right? So if you want to discover, do people like you? Do they like the teaching style that you have? People don't come to a fitness class because of the music, not exclusively. They come because they get results. They can understand you. You make it clear, you make it fun, and they feel good when they leave. You can do that without music or anything else specific or fancy. So think about the keeping it simple. Do the things that really matter. That'll give you the research that you need. And then get some help where you have to do things you can't. But also make sure you're focusing on the right thing, creating content. How do you do that? How are you doing that? All right, just a recap those three ways to avoid burnout: stop scrambling to compete with somebody, focus on your customers. Remember why you're doing what you're doing and start doing more of the things you love again and less of the things you don't. And last but not least, keep it simple. Businesses can be really simple and really successful. I'm going to put the link below the show notes to the resource that I mentioned. That is the Marketing to Women Copywriting Course. And this month, it's at a very special rate. If you click it now, because you've got to be prepared for Black Friday, you've got to be prepared for your New Year's packages. January, by the way, is not the month to wait to promote. Promote in December, promote Black Friday. Those are two of the biggest months of the year for most of us. The fact that January is the biggest month is really some BS, right? So people are already got a plan. They're already started. So they're busy as far as activity using the programs people have already bought. But it's not a great month for purchases. So make sure you're selling actively in November and December. And there you have it. If that was helpful, I would love to hear from you. Fitnessmarketingmastery.com/avoid burnout. And what are you waiting for? The world needs us right now more than ever.